Today we have NIT Jalandhar with us today, and it's so good to see people joining us and sharing this evening with us. Today we'll be talking about some insights on placement preparation, internship preparation, the kind of roadmap we should all be taking for getting internships and placements right. So let's talk about it. And before we start, I'll just give a quick introduction about myself. So hi everyone, my name is Shantanu. I am about to join Schlumberger this fall. I have been a part of multiple internships in the past, and that's why maybe today I can provide you with some insight on how we can prepare ourselves for internships and placements, which we will all be sitting for and applying for. So before we start, let's talk about some very normal questions that are arising in our heads at this moment, and that is that why do we need this webinar in the first place? What is the requirement of this webinar? Why are we talking about internships and why are we talking about placements? What is the reason that we are doing all of this? So if we take it into consideration, then we all know the importance of internships right now in today's industry. So we as students could have had any industry experience, and that could have had led us to different sorts of exposure in the industry, right? So before we start, just want to have a quick check from the audience. Has anybody done an internship before? Has anybody done an internship before? If you have not done, you can just say that I have not done it yet. That is also a completely correct answer. That's not an issue. Anybody has done any internship? Okay, no responses so far. Well, that's not an issue. I'm assuming that people are actually curious about getting to know about internships. So let's begin. So what happens in an internship, and what is the importance of these internships? So if we take it into consideration, so the importance of these internships are that when you join some internship and you write it in your resume or maybe talk about it during an interview, so it basically means, or it basically endorses you that you have the relevant skills regarding the technicalities that you have worked on during your internship, which can be considered at the time of your full-time hiring. So it gives you basic experience, it gives you industry exposure, it gives you a chance to learn, the technical aspects of a certain technology base. Okay, so for example, let's say you are interning at some company ABC, okay, and there you try to do something on web. So you did some web development, and now when you get into the placement scenario, you tell your interviewer that I have done some sort of internship in web development in the company ABC. So that interviewer will definitely understand that and definitely would endorse you of your skills because it has been recognized well. So that is the point that I'm trying to make, that internships kind of do endorse you and gives you a chance to do developmental experience at the time when you are in your college life. Because usually if we see like in your college in NIT Jalandhar, most of the people in computer science, IT, and other branches are doing competitive coding, problem solving. Everybody's talking about arrays, vectors, array lists, linked lists, stacks, queues, graphs, trees, and that's all that they care about. That's all that they care about. Like, I would personally think that people are saying time complexities of algorithms more than they say their own names. So that is the idea that I'm trying to say. I will come to everybody's questions at the end of this webinar. So Ghanshyam, I will just get to your question in a quick bit. So please excuse me for that time being. So yeah, I was talking about basically why or what do we talk about during our college life. That was time complexities, arrays, linked lists, data structures, and all of that. So in an internship, you get to get some developmental experience as well. And when you join some full-time company, then the thing that you will have to do, despite having done problem solving all your college life, is basically development. Nobody's going to ask you that, okay, you have two sorted arrays and you have to merge them to create one array. That is not the scenario that you would usually get inside a certain product-based or service-based company. So the thing is that when we are preparing for internship or placement, so if we take a look into what are the criteria that we are judged on, then we then it is evidently, it is without an explanation, it is completely understood that problem solving and data structure skills are going to be considered. So now what are problem solving skills and what are data structures? So data structures, I don't think anybody needs any introduction to that. It's all over the place. It's everywhere on the internet. It's everywhere. You can search about it. You can learn about it anywhere at any place that you want to. Okay, the thing is problem solving skills. And this is something that a lot of people don't have. This is something that I myself initially did not have. I had to struggle a lot to get good at problem solving skills. So despite the fact that we know what a data structure is, the hard part comes when we have to implement it to solve a certain problem. Okay, and that is where the toughest part is coming. Now the next question is, if it is so important for internships and placements, and if I am not so good at problem solving, how do we get about this criteria? How do we get about this fact that we are also about to get an internship? How do we basically prepare ourselves for getting an internship? How do we become good at problem solving? So can anybody give me a quick insight of what they think that we should do for getting good at problem solving? Anyone, any idea? Anyone, any idea on what should we do to be good at problem solving? Come on, guys, you are, yes, by solving more and more problems. Yeah, yes, one reply we have from Jay, that is actually correct. Anyone, any more replies? Come on, guys, you guys are in NIT Jalandhar, and if you can, of course, prepare for like 2 years or 3 years to get into NIT Jalandhar, I'm pretty sure you can also type it in the chat box of how you're feeling about it. Right. Okay, so I have just one response from Jay, which is correct, by solving more and more problems. Of course, like we say, we have English proverb that Rome was not built in a day. We also say that, like, let's talk about languages. So you guys are from different places in India. So of course, you have one primary language, which can be Hindi or any regional language that you speak. So of course, when you started with that language from the very start, you did not learn it instantly, right? It took you 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, or maybe you're still learning today of how to speak in a certain language. So of course, you got good over it by passage of time. When we were in school, when we used to solve integration and differentiation, of course, we got good over it only because of practice, and that is the only way that we can get good over problem solving. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that problem solving is very, very important, and you have to get good at it. Okay, I am not going to explain more about it because I'm not going to just talk about problem solving. I'm going to talk about the entire aspect of internships and placements. So this was only the first round that will consider your problem solving skills. That is the technical round, which might just have aptitude related questions and coding questions. The next thing that comes afterwards is interviews. So this is also true for placement related scenarios when people have to clarify some sort of technical round with aptitude questions and coding questions, and then they have to face the technical round. Now it can be 1 round or 2 rounds, 3 rounds, depending on the company to company and depending on what position you're applying for. So after the technical round, or maybe in the technical round, what is asked? What is considered, what is asked, what should be the things that should be considered for the sake of clearing a technical round of interview. So if you're a normal person who has done competitive coding all their 4 years of college life, then people will mostly ask you competitive coding related questions. They will ask you DSA, they will ask you time complexities, like for example, suppose if you have an array of, let's say, length 1000 and elements are repeating many times. So if you have to say that you have time complexity of O of n, then you have to tell me that what is the time, what will be the time complexity of searching a certain element. So this is a very normal question, and the answer is also very easy, which is O of n. So this is one of the questions that can be asked to you, even though it's a very irrelevant and very easy example, but this is a kind of question that can be asked to you during your internship or placement interviews. Okay, but this is the scenario when you're a very mediocre or someone who has mostly been doing stuff that everybody is doing, that is problem solving and continuous problem solving. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that problem solving is not the only thing that is important. If you know problem solving, if you're good at it, definitely you're doing a great job, but there are some other factors that can help you ace an interview. So because you guys are from NIT Jalandhar and you have personally noticed a lot of seniors or a lot of your friends getting placed or getting an internship at some certain place, so you would have noticed that companies mostly ask data structures, algorithms related questions during interview, and if they want to ask something else, then they ask DBMS or OS or computer networks. Okay, so now the question is, why do they ask DBMS, computer networks, and operating systems? Because even when you go into some certain company, there's a very less chance that you will be working on something which is related to operating systems or which is related to, let's say, computer networks, unless you are in web development. So the thing that I'm trying to ask is that what is that other thing that should be asked to you in case if you want to avoid getting asked questions in computer network, DBMS, and all of those things. The thing is, the one thing that we all technically tend to miss is the developmental aspect that we should also be keeping at the time of our college. So if you're in first year or second year, try to give it a little bit of shot at the times when you think about doing some developmental activity like web development or Android development or anything that interests you technically. So if you add relevant projects on the same domain on your resume, your interview can get into a direction that you would definitely love. Let's say that I have created some 2 or 3 web development projects and I'm good at problem solving. So when I sit in the interview, I can talk about myself in my introduction that I know web development and I have done it. So the interviewer can ask me good questions on web development as well, which is something which has more chances of me answering those questions rather than the interviewer asking me what is CPU scheduling and what is synchronization and what are semaphores. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that if you are in college, apart from just problem solving, try to focus a little bit on development as well. So this can really help you at the time of getting internships and getting placements in many companies. Okay, so that is one thing. So when we are done with the technical rounds of interview, they can be 1 rounds or 2 rounds or 3 rounds, or even more than that, depending on the company and the position you're applying to. So after that, what comes is HR related activities. Okay. How to judge your learning? I am doing web dev from 6 to 7 months now and have done variety of technologies, but don't have confidence on what I learned. Okay, Lavish, I will get to your question. I'll get to your question. Let me just speak what I'm trying to speak, and I will definitely get to your question. Okay, so I was saying that we get to experience an HR related round for internships or placements after the technical round. So my question is that if a candidate, if hired, is going to do only developmental or problem solving related activities in a certain company and is actually good at it and has proven his or her mettle during the competitive coding round and the technical rounds of interview, then why to conduct HR round? And if HR round is important, then why to conduct it after the technical round? Does anybody have this question in their head? That why is HR round placed after the technical round? Why is it that if the judging criteria for a certain candidate is the coding related aspects, then why HR round is kept after the technical round? Any idea, anyone? Any idea? If you don't know, you can just say I do not know. That is also okay. No idea. Okay, no problem. HR is basically used to just soft skills. So definitely that's right. HR is done to use to basically measure soft skills. That is right. But are soft skills so important that they are to be judged after the technical skills? Because definitely technical skills are more important, right? So if soft skills are important, so then why are they considered? But if soft skills are important, but if the candidate is to be taken on the basis of problem solving and developmental related aspects, then why is HR round conducted after the technical rounds? That is my question. It definitely is going to check your soft skills and other skills, but why is it kept after the the technical round? Okay, so it's fine. Okay, if we know our approach to deliver them efficiently, we need soft skills. Yes, that's right. That's right. Sadia mentioned if we know our approach to deliver them effectively, that's why we need soft skills. That is correct. Okay, so before I get to detailed answer of this question, I will like to ask you guys a question. So you guys are in NIT Jalandhar. You have noticed a lot of your seniors getting placed. You have noticed a lot of your colleagues or maybe your seniors getting internships at many companies and many places. But before they get an internship or before people get placed, of course, you as a normal fellow pupil, you kind of know who is how good someone is, right? And after the internship season is over or the placement season is over, suddenly you know someone who was like very good. You were like, that person should be getting the best placement or the best internship, and suddenly that person does not get the best placement or best internship. And the feeling that we get is like, oh my god भाई उसका कैसे नहीं हुआ, उसका तो हो ही जाना चाहिए था. And then there are some people who are like who were not so good, and then that person gets the best one and you were like भाई उसका कैसे हो गया. Has this happened with any one of you guys, or have you noticed or experienced this kind of feeling, or have you noticed this kind of thing happening around you, maybe in your college or maybe someone you know of? Somebody has mentioned might be because they first are shortlisted on the basis of technical skills, and and then next they should be able to be communicate. Yeah, that's kind of correct. But has this scenario occurred to any one of you, that there was somebody whom you thought should get the best intern or the best placement, but suddenly was not able to get because of some reason, and that sparked a question in everybody's head that how did that person not get the best one? Anyone, any instance of that sort of scenario? Okay, I'm not getting any responses, but I'm assuming that definitely this is something that has happened to all of us. So, so this is only a very nice example of one bad day can ruin everything. Yeah, that is also correct. So this is one very good example of why HR round is why is important. So the thing is, you might be the best coder in the world, but if you are not good enough for showcasing your teamwork attitude, then you will get rejected. So assuming that, let's say that I am, let's say, the best web developer in the world, which I definitely am not. So assuming that I am the best web developer in the world, and I'm sitting for some company ABC, and I'm like, okay, I can. So they asked me so many technical questions, I was able to answer all of them. So suddenly, when my team is like, okay, Shantanu, you're hired, so now we will work on this and this project. So now I go and start working on this project, and I think that though no, the entire code is not written the way I like it, so the entire project is trash, and I want to recode it all by myself without anybody else's effort. So even if I can actually do that, that is not the right thing, because I'm not showing the right attitude and I'm not showing the right teamwork skill. So the point that I'm trying to make here, the HR round that I was talking about checks the teamwork skills and the attitude of the candidate. So if your attitude is nasty, or if your attitude is not very relieving, then you will get rejected regardless of your technical skills. Because people can learn technical skills over time, but people can't learn attitude over time. So that is the point that I'm trying to make here, that your technical skills are definitely needed to be good, but your language, your attitude, and the way you behave yourself in the interviews are also going to play a major role. For example, I can give you a nice example. Let's say that you interned. Let's suppose you're sitting for some placement of some certain company. Okay, you in your past you interned for a big company. Let's call that company ABC. Okay, now you're sitting for company XYZ. So in the interview, your HR or your interviewer asks you, so you did intern at company ABC, right? So you will be like, yeah. And then that person asks you, okay, can you tell me some negative factors of that company because of which you might consider not joining that company? And then you take a plethora of the points of why to not join that company, and then you keep saying that inside the interview. So your interviewer will instantly recognize that this person does not have the right attitude and is backlashing a certain company based on personal experience. So that is something that we have to avoid. And this is just one example. There can be other scenarios as well. One more point that people tend to miss out is that before going to a certain interview or for internship or placement, they tend to miss out on the role that they're applying to. So suppose you're in some interview and your HR asks you, so hi XYZ, so tell me why would you want to join our company? And then you'll be like, oh, I want to join your company because I have not got a job, and I want a job, and I want to earn lots of money in my life. So even if that's the actual reason, you can't really say that in front of your HR, right? So you have to make some relevant points, even if it's completely false. You have to make some relevant points which do align with the goals of the company and the job descriptions you're applying for. So this is something that many people seem to miss, and I don't understand why. So I always encourage people that before you sit for some certain company, be it for internship, be it for placement, then make sure you have some sort of idea about the role that you're trying to take up, or have some idea about the company that you're trying to apply to. For example, let's say you're applying for Deloitte. So what is Deloitte? Deloitte is a consulting firm. So Deloitte audits, takes a lot of things. Technically, what I'm trying to say is Deloitte makes audits. Deloitte does a lot of auditing, operational auditing, financial auditing, all of those kind of stuff. Deloitte also does consulting, technical consulting, and things like that. So suddenly you're sitting for Deloitte and your HR asks you that, why do you want to join Deloitte? And you'll be like, oh, Deloitte is a great company. I just want to join because Deloitte is a very big company. So that does not make any relevant sense. It does not make you more desirable. It just makes the HR think that, oh, this person hasn't really done their research. I don't even know why this person is sitting in the interview. So that is something that you have to be avoiding. You need to take a look over the factors that can actually affect your candidature, and getting to know about the company is definitely one of those things. uh, so yeah, that is all about it. And once that is done, once you are clear with all of these attributes, then you must be so if you're clear about all of these attributes, then you must be knowing about the things that are going to be considered during your interview and placement. So yeah, that is all the point that I was trying to say. So apart from data structures algorithms, which are definitely more important, there are a few more topics that you need to focus on, and those are going to be like database management systems, that is DBMS, and operating systems, which are, based on my personal experience, are two things that are asked a lot. So in database management systems, if we have to look over, then it's mostly going to be like relations that we make into ER diagrams and what are foreign keys. So for people who are not studied DBMS as of now, it's okay. By the time you come to your third year or final year, you would have the knowledge of DBMS, and you would be able to apply those knowledge at the time when your interviewer is asking you questions on a basis of database management systems. Then there can be scenarios of people asking you transactional related queries, and why is NoSQL a good over SQL, or why is vice versa possible, things like that. Why do people do this, why do people do that? So many questions like that. So many types of questions can come, and you can be put into a scenario where you might be asked a question on DBMS as well. So these are the few very important points of taking into consideration of internships and placements. Now there is one more aspect which I want to talk about. So currently the internships that I was talking about, this is the procedure that people usually follow in the times of when they're looking for an internship in a multinational company like Amazon, Flipkart, Samsung, things like that. But you would have also noticed that people do tend to get some internships in some startup companies which pay really good amounts of money, and also give you really good amounts of experience. So then we can categorize people on the basis of what sort of internships that they have got. Some people get really good internships in a startup, and some people get really good internships in a very big named company. Okay, so for usually the criteria or the kind of trend that I have seen in startup related companies is that people usually tend to take candidates on the basis of their developmental aspects as well. So in case of startups, you would see that more weightage is given to the kind of developmental aspect that you have in your portfolio. So let's say that you're applying for a company like Razorpay. So Razorpay, and you are a great front-end developer. So Razorpay does not really care of how much DSA you know. They mostly care about how much great front-end you can write. And therefore, there are high chances of yours, if you know great front-end, of yourself getting into Razorpay. Even though Razorpay has grown to be very big today, but that is still their strategy, and I really appreciate them for that. But many other companies are also getting into this pool of hiring people on the basis of their developmental aspects, because they don't want to spend time on people being trained for a certain technology. They want people who already know it and they know it well. Okay, so that is one great thing. Another great aspect of getting an internship are hackathons. This is one of the lesser known ways of getting an internship. So because you guys are in NIT Jalandhar, so if we talk about great colleges near Punjab, then it can be IIT Delhi, then other colleges in Rajasthan and Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Then you can also travel to like Himachal Pradesh. So good places like good colleges in these states, maybe a great hackathon is happening. And usually these hackathons are sponsored by great names and also some really good startups. So maybe you can apply into these hackathons, try to win this sorry, try to win this hackathon. So in case if your idea was really good, irrespective of the fact whether you were the winner or not, some companies might want to consider you on the basis of your project to hire you and your team. This is one of the lesser known ways of getting a good internship. I have personally got one internship like this, and it has helped me a lot, and I've seen people getting good amounts of internship like that. I know a team of two people who recently participated in a hackathon conducted at IIT ISM Dhanbad, and both of them were able to get an internship in PhonePe. So because PhonePe was a great sponsor for that event. So if PhonePe can come and hire people on the basis of hackathons, if Walmart can come and hire people on the basis of hackathons, of course, other companies can also come and hire on the basis of hackathons in case if they're sponsoring those events. So this is one another way of that you can basically intend to for the sake of getting an internship or a placement. Okay, so yeah, that was pretty much it from my side regarding internships and placements. One great thing I'd want to talk about just before I finish my part is that today we have with us someone from your college. He is Arsh Goyal, who is currently at Samsung. I am a huge fan of you, Arsh. I follow you on LinkedIn, and I am constantly in touch with your posts that you create on LinkedIn. So I would like to hand over the podium to you, and you can take chance and you can basically talk to your alma mater at this moment. So yeah, over to you, Arsh.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I was listening to you, and like you had provided some great insights into the entire placement and the internships.
Thank you,
Uh,
Harsh. I'm a huge fan of yours. Honestly, I've
thank,
seen you. I constantly follow you on LinkedIn, and yeah, huge
thank
fan,
you.
huge fan.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Same likewise from this side. So I am here, like basically, I can see that people here are from first year, second year. So thank you so much all for joining, and thank you so much for having me here today. Uh, like today, I'll basically be talking a bit about my journey, a bit like about some of my interview experiences. As Shantanu was already mentioning, like hackathons are also one of the big part of a placement or an internship role. So how hackathons and internships can help, like even I have certain experiences of how hackathons helped me, how is the placement process. So I'll not take much time, just hardly 5-10 minutes, and after that we can see if you have certain queries. So just starting with that, I am currently not an alumnus. I will be passing out in 2021 itself from NIT Jalandhar, and it has been an amazing journey here at NIT Jalandhar. Uh, Talking from academics point of view, like as you all might have already experienced, like it is only you who have to prepare on your own and like make the ways for yourself in this current situation. So like nowadays, like what happens is you are there at your home and currently in the remote situation and in the virtual setup. So it is you who have your time, and it is up to you how you manage your time well. So the first and the most important advice that I would like to give you is like utilize your time properly as of now. Like you have next 2 months. So those 2 months are very crucial for even if you are in your second year or you are in your third year. So these 2 months will change your entire college life. So try to utilize these 2 months very carefully. So this was something. So now coming upon to my procedures, my interview experiences, or how I have been into this particular position. So I have one offer from Lowe's India. So Lowe's India is basically the world's second largest home improvement company, and it has its stores located in Canada, Mooresville, and various other foreign locations. When we talk about from India's point of view, so they have their technology center located at Bangalore. So I was like, they conducted a hackathon last year, like for pre-final year students. So I took my team there. We built a certain project. We submitted the GitHub repository, and we gave one presentation also. A video submission was also there. So this was basically the process of that hackathon. We submitted. Although like like everything turned into a virtual setup, but it was supposed to be in the physical mode in Bangalore. But as soon as the events turned out to, so what happened was everything turned into virtual. So we were to present everything in the virtual setup. So we presented, and like our team was shortlisted further. So after that, what happened is like as soon as our team was shortlisted, so they asked us like our team was in the top 100 candidates that from all over India who participated in this hackathon. Close to 4,000, 5,000 like teams were there from all over India. So I was in the top 100. So as soon as we completed with the hackathon and like we were in the top 100, so we got a chance to interview at their company. Like they asked us like whether you want to be a part of the company. So they gave us an interview opportunity with Lowe's India. So they held like 2 3 interview rounds, two technical interview rounds, one HR interview round, and the interviews were pretty similar to what the type of interviews that happen in the college, as Chandra has already mentioned, majorly focusing on data structure algorithms and maybe some portion of your DBMS, OS, or your projects in general. So the interviews were similar, and finally we were offered software engineering role at Lowe's India through that particular hackathon. So now you can see how important a hackathon can be from this perspective. And even before the start of our current college year, like before coming to the final year, I had one offer with Lowe's India for the role of software engineer. So like this year also they are conducting this particular codeathon. Like if you are in your third year, so you can register for the same. And a lot of other opportunities you will be getting when you move into your third year. Like different companies will conduct their hackathons. Like American Express hackathon will be there, or you can see hackathon by Optum. Like there will be a lot of companies who will be conducting hackathons. So you need to be aware, you need to be active, so that you can get to know about these opportunities and apply as soon as they come, right? So this is one thing. Next, coming upon to my interview experience that was there for Samsung. So I got an internship at Samsung when I was in college. So Samsung comes in college for basically there's a peculiar test for Samsung that is known as software competency test. It's basically a 3 hours long test, and you will be given one single question. So that single question is like it is like they have their own platform. It's a Korean platform on which you need to code, and single question with 50 test cases, and you need to pass all those 50 test cases to get shortlisted. So Samsung came to our college, and 200 people sat for the test. Like basically CSC, EC, and IC was eligible, and 200 out of 200 people, 16 were shortlisted based upon the test performance. So they conducted interviews for 16 people. From those 16 people, like then three technical, like two technical rounds and one HR round was again conducted, and that were also like I would say 60 to 70% DSL goes. And like Samsung asks particularly some questions related to C language, like when you talk about pointer arithmetic or storage classes. So some questions from that particularly, and operating system is one of the important parts of the recruitment process of Samsung. So that was one thing, and like both the interview rounds were similar. Like and second interview round was majorly focusing upon projects as well, like one or two DSA questions and then projects. So this was basically how the recruitment process of Samsung was. And next was the HR round, which was basically talking about the relocation, or basically knowing more about the person, how the person is in general, like whether he is a genuine candidate or like. So basically that was very short, like I would say 10 minutes, 15 minutes interview round. That was HR round, because uh, during that time it was held in the physical setup, and like the interview rounds were conducted till 9 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. at night. So this was the scene when it came into campus. And finally, out of those 16, they took three people for internship. And I did my internship in the virtual setup in June and July, like May and June 2020. And I was offered a pre-placement offer by Samsung. So yeah, this was basically the interview experience of Samsung. Apart from that, like I have been into various communities in college. I have been a part of DSC chapter. I started the DSC chapter at NIT Jalandhar. Like we conducted various workshops, seminars, and a lot of things. Like even if you might have heard of DSC NIT Jalandhar, right? You might have even participated in these events that these people are conducting. So slowly, and maybe even in future you might also be a part of that, and you can also contribute towards making these clubs and societies better. So this is also something that helped me. Like I have given talks on various technologies like ML, cloud, and we have conducted web development workshops, competitive programming workshops, DSA workshops. So these things also build confidence and help you to present better in the interviews, right? So there's a difference between knowing the things and presenting the things. So that matters the most. Like even if you are knowing the answer in an interview and you're not able to speak and you're not able to present yourself, that matters the most. So you need yourself to practice. And I would say try practicing mock interviews with your friends. That will boost your confidence. That will help you to understand the things better, and that will make you like even more perfect when we talk about interview preparation in general, right? So this was all for my part as of this particular talk. Thank you so much, everyone, once again, and all the best. Good luck. I hand it over to Tushar or Shantanu.
Yeah, hello. Anyone who wants to ask questions to us, and then he can paste in just like copy, ask their question in chat box.
Yeah, we did have some questions previously, which I kind of missed. So, Arsh, would you like to take these questions? I would like very much prefer if you take them.
Sure, Shantanu, sure. Like, yeah. Somebody's asking in Adobe internship process and tips, please. So when I talk about Adobe, like I was researching about Adobe. I have a certain like I've been creating content on YouTube as well, on LinkedIn as well. So I recently got request to have a video on Adobe. So I have been in touch with certain people who have got an internship at Adobe. So basically, Adobe's process is similar to any other company. Like when you talk about internship, so they have two intern positions for Adobe. One is Adobe product intern, and second is Adobe research intern. So when you talk about product intern, so product intern is similar to software engineering intern, and research intern is somebody who is into research and like in their R&D development, R&D center. So for product intern, basically it hires from various campuses, and the process is almost similar. You will be having one HackerRank test, and that HackerRank test will include everything: MCQs also, coding questions also, and one essay question also. And in the further interview rounds, like last year, the interview rounds were held in the virtual setup. So two technical interviews, one HR interview, and first technical interview majorly focusing on DS algos. Second interview was majorly focusing on projects. So this is the general pattern that Adobe follows when it comes on campus. And like off campus, it generally doesn't hire as such for internships, but they have a program known as Adobe WIT scholarship type of thing, particularly for girls. So that is for girls, through which they hire research interns, right? So you need to apply for that scholarship. That it is generally open in the month of December. So keep a note around these dates, and through that scholarship application, you will be provided with an internship at Adobe for the coming summer, right? This is basically the process for Adobe, and you need to make sure that you are well versed with your DS algos. That is the first and the most important thing for any company, not just for Adobe itself, right? I hope that is clear, Sadia. Saurav is asking for development versus competitive coding. Uh, what I would say is like it is not the you should like it depends upon currently at which stage you are, right? So if you are well versed with your data structure algorithm, the first and the most important thing that I advise anyone is uh, be strong with your DS algo fundamentals, then go for program, or then go for development, right? So first of all, you need to be good with all the fundamentals of your DS algos. You should have practiced at least 10, 15, 20 questions of each data structures at least, and maybe at the max you might have solved around 150 questions. So that gives you a confidence that if any random question comes in front of me, so I'll be able to think in a way so that I can get closer to the solution, like if not the actual solution, but yeah, I'll be able to think. So that gives you a boost, and that gives you confidence. So once you reach that stage, then go for development. Go for development, I mean to say is like choose any of the fields that interest you. Maybe it can be web, it can be Android, it can be anything. And don't just leave DS algos as of like you have done 150 questions. So as I told you, ऐसे नहीं करना. You have to continue your DS algos along with that development part. So maybe you are learning web development. So web development is like you can create a complete full-fledged project in 2.5 months. That would not be wrong to say, right? When you're learning frequently and when you're learning at a pace, so 2.5 months you will be able to make a good project. And along with that, it is like the 3-4 questions you are practicing for DS algos daily, even while doing development. So once you are done with development, once you're done with your practice of DSLGO questions, majorly for placements or majorly for when I talk about practicing DSLGOs, I'm referring to GFG and LeetCode, right? So that is sufficient for your placement and internship processes on campus. After this thing, when you are done with that, then you have a lot of time. You can continue with competitive programming, you can continue with development, but that prerequisite that I've already mentioned, that is more important, right? So you need to understand that. I hope it's clear, Saurav. Sir, we should be good in how many languages? Should we know all the languages? Like, no, it is not key you should know all the languages. Like, you should be good at one language. Basically, when we talk about current situation, so people generally prefer CPP or Java. It's an object-oriented programming language, and we have a lot of resources for these particular languages, right? So companies have an option of attempting their test in all the languages. Like you can either choose Python. If you are good at Python, you can choose CPP, you can choose Java. So almost all the companies coding test has all options to choose any particular language that you're good at. So this is not a constraint, like you have to learn all the languages. And believe me that all the languages are almost similar. It's just the syntax difference. And if you're good at one particular language, you will require only 3-4 days to be comfortable with the syntax of any other language, right? So if you are thinking of learning C sharp, which is very similar to C++ or C when we talk, and C is also very similar to C++. So learning different languages will not help. Problem solving in one particular language will help, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Shantanu.
Please.
I said correct me if I'm wrong, Shantanu.
Yeah, please. No, absolutely. You're not wrong. Absolutely. Like in my personal case, I go with Java. So I have been keeping Java as my primary language since over last 3 to 4 years. So every time I get this advantage that because no matter what coding platform I choose, I always see Java. So that is one great advantage I get. But now the coding platform is changing and people are moving towards languages like JavaScript and Python as well for the choice of keeping them as their primary language. So it's totally dependent on the students which language they want to prefer for themselves. But I would always say going with C++ or Java is always the safest option.
Perfect. Correct. Absolutely. So I hope we are done with most of the questions. Like, if Shantanu, if you have any particular things that were asked in your session, you can continue with them.
Okay. Saurabh asked me some things that you think that you should have learned before. Well, Harsh, this is the question for you.
That you think that you should have learned before.
You should have learned before. That's what he's mean.
So he's basically asking me like what I should have learned. Like when I talk about my particular journey, so what I believe is it is I should have started a bit earlier. I started in my third, like after the close to the end of my third semester, preparing for companies and preparing for placements. So even if I was even not aware, as you people are not aware. So and the scenario currently and the scenario 2 years or 3 years back was very different. Like now you have a lot of resources, you have a lot of YouTube channels, you have a very rich and very, like, I would say content precise LinkedIn, where you have a lot of options to explore what you have to do to get into this, or what you have to, like, how you have to prepare. So you have a lot of people telling you how you have to prepare. You have a lot of good data structure algorithms content available on different resources, different websites. So during, like, I would say, like, when we were in our first years or second years, things were not as like clear, or as they are clear right now. Maybe it can be due to the virtual setup, like people are more active on certain platforms and people are more aware onto what to do and how to do. So yeah, I think I should have started a bit earlier, and I have learned these things before. And I always had, like, thought of learning AR VR. Like I don't have an experience learning AR VR. I wanted to have that experience as well, like how we are deploying those things. And like I explored certain SDKs, but yeah, it's the field that is yet to explore, right? I hope that answers your question, Saurabh.
In the meantime, if me or Arsh have missed out on answering any of your questions, I would personally be providing my LinkedIn address, and I don't think anybody needs introduction to LinkedIn address of Arsh. So yeah, we are always available on LinkedIn for your queries in case if we have missed any, isn't it, Arsh?
Yeah, definitely, Shantanu.
All right, so I will just throw in my LinkedIn address over here. It's not as impressive as Arsh's is, but still, yeah, I have something. So yeah, there you go.
Uh, yeah, I've mentioned my social media handle. You can connect with me here. Like, you'll get certain links. Sorry, this is something that is sent about. Just a minute. Yeah. You can connect with me, connect with Shantanu on social medias, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your queries. And again, thank you so much for being so patient and listening to us.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Arsh, thank you very much for being a part of this webinar. I'm pretty sure students of your college would draw a lot of inspiration from you. Also, not just from your college people. I've seen your LinkedIn. I constantly, like I said, I follow you and I see that you do inspire a lot of people. So yeah, kudos to you over that.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you so much for being so grateful and talking about the same. And yeah, thank you so much once again.
All right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Arsh.
Goodbye.
All right. So now I think we're good to close the webinar. It's great. All right. See you guys soon. Bye bye.